the summer slump a little bit, and then also offering you some really practical ways you can actually use this season to grow your practice. Believe it or not, you can actually use this season to grow your practice. So awesome. Thanks, Chris. Good to see you guys. First and foremost, happy Friday, happy summer, right? Summer slump. It's finally getting hot here in Nashville. So wherever you are, I hope if you're a summertime lover, it's warm. And if you're not, it's holding off. Um, if you're joining me here live, I would love to know where you're joining from. Please do say hello in the comments. If you're catching the replay, great. Maybe it's this summer slump. Maybe it's next one. That's the beautiful thing about these trainings is people often come back to them years later. Just drop the hashtag replay into the comments if you're catching the replay. I still answer questions on trainings from years ago. So if you've got questions here, please feel free to let me know. And if you're here live, you have the benefit of asking those questions right here and now. We always end these with a little bit of a Q&A. So if you're wondering about something, if you're struggling with something specific, if something I said has you going, what about this? Let me know. So say hi in the comments. And if this is your first time joining us, I'm so happy you're here. Happy summer. My name is Anna Walker. I get to run this incredible community called Get Booked Out, and I am the CEO of Walker Strategy Co. Walker Strategy Co. exists to help you do two things. One, to market yourself authentically in a way you feel really, really proud of, that feels aligned with who you are, the things you enjoy, the things you're most passionate about, and to also help you market yourself in a way that's effective. Hello, I want to see you get clients. The work I do is founded in a belief that you deserve to be paid for your expertise, a belief that you offer something really, really incredible to your clients, which impacts them, their families, their communities, that the work you do matters. And then I want to help you do more of it in whatever way makes sense for you. So that's a little bit about us and what we do around here. If you're here, I'm just really, really thrilled. And I hope that you find value, not just from me, but from this incredible community here in the Get Booked Out group. So, all right, let's dive into this whole summer slump thing. I've been serving clinicians exclusively for 5 years, and I remember, I'm not a clinician myself, if you're not aware of that. As I did a lot of research prior to actually beginning to serve therapists, I heard about this concept of the summer slump. And it's interesting, summer slowdowns are sort of normalized in many different industries, but it's felt particularly strongly in this one. And so I just want to tell you right up front, as I have served clinicians now, this is our 5th summer actually 5th technically, serving therapists, that this is normal. So if you're seeing a slowdown in referrals, if you're having more cancellations, if you're tempted to panic right now, all of that is normal. You might not be feeling that, and that's great too. But oftentimes I sort of see the summer slump in an effort to sort of combat it. It's made out to be like a marketing issue. Like, well, you obviously didn't prepare your practice well enough. And I think that you can sort of take on a little bit of unnecessary shame for that, because very rarely does a summer slump actually mean anything is wrong. One thing we've really seen be true, and especially post-pandemic, is that ebbs and flows in your practice are normal. And this is often an ebb in the season and in the year of many clinicians. And so if you're experiencing this, if you're feeling stress around it, I want to release any and sort of encourage you to release any additional shame or burden you might be taking on thinking that this is a result of something you have done incorrectly. That's not to say there isn't room to make improvements in your marketing and how you're growing, but this is normal. We're preparing for teaser, a really exciting workshop coming up in a couple of weeks where we actually have sat down and studied, okay, the therapists who are successful right now, what are they doing? And guess what? They're not experiencing slowdowns. They still have them too. So I just really wanted to start this conversation by normalizing that. If you're here and you're struggling or you're worried or you're stressed or you're feeling tempted to panic, all of those things are okay, and they aren't necessarily an indication that you've done something wrong. So solidarity there. Now, what I want to ask you is when else, and if you're used to having a semi-full or full caseload, when else do you have multiple hours per week to devote to your practice? You probably had multiple hours per week to dedicate to your practice early on in the growth phase. And if you're in the growth phase, you get to live in that space. But this is one of the beautiful things about these natural ebbs and flows in practice is that they open up this margin in your world that allows you to invest in your practice in a really different way. I stand behind the statement that right now, this season of summer in particular, especially in the rhythm of therapy and private practice, is the absolute number one best time to be investing in your marketing. Hands down. Hands down. This is the time to be doing it. This is your opportunity, if you allow yourself to view it that way, to work on your business instead of in it. You don't have a cancellation? Okay, then let's do something with that time. Doing something isn't always busy work either. But I really just want to encourage you around that this time can actually be really, really useful, even if it's not a butt in a seat seeing a client, right? That this can actually be really productive for your time. So am I still coming through okay? We've just not had any additional comments, which is fine. Maybe it's a slow day. Maybe others are enjoying their summer, but will you just, Chris, you said all good. I just want to make sure we're still coming through. I have had Facebook issues in the past, so. All right, thank you, Angela. All right, I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Now let's keep rolling. So there's 3 different ways that I really think you can be growing your practice. Awesome, thanks, guys. In this time, first, you can use this time to grow your footprint. When I say your footprint, I mainly mean your digital footprint. This starts with your website, and we're going to talk about some different ways that footprint can work and what it can look like. But first and foremost, Google has made some changes lately. You may have heard that Google had this big leak. And I don't even know that the leak necessarily shed additional light on this, but the fact is that in the world of SEO, which is one small part of your marketing, but in the world of SEO, the greater your footprint can be online, so the more places you are talked about and mentioned, the more places you are active, the larger your footprint, the more authoritative you are assumed to be by Google. And so while the website is the foundation of your SEO, if you already have a great website, then you can be thinking about where else on the internet can I be growing my footprint? That might be you're growing your footprint on your actual website and you are blogging and you are creating content there. Maybe you are revisiting that website and saying, I have had so many clients come to me recently asking about brain spotting. I'm going to add a page to my website. I'm going to grow the footprint of my website by adding a page there that's meeting these clients at their point of need. Maybe you're going to grow your footprint outside of your website through social media, through kind of PR, and maybe looking to get quoted in publications. But this can be a really, really cool season to be growing your footprint because you have these larger chunks of time to be brainstorming, to be writing, to be experimenting, and also to be batching, to actually be making like large amounts of progress in smaller amounts of time because it's not fragmented. Your time is not as fragmented as it probably typically is when you're a little bit busier. If you are not sure if your website, which is 100%, I will die on this hill, the foundation of your website, or I'm sorry, the foundation of your marketing, that's where you need to be starting right now. I want to see you, if you do not have either a website, period, or a website that is regularly converting clients in busier seasons right now, I want to see you exit this summer with that in place. Because if you have that in place, everything else about your marketing will get more effective. It's one of the coolest things I see when clinicians decide to invest in their website. Not only does their website start to perform better for them, they get inquiries through their website, but all of a sudden the social media efforts that they're making, or the networking efforts that they're making, or the blogging efforts that they're making, they all get better because they're all driving back to your website. So, like I said, I'll die on that hill. The website is the foundation of your marketing, and so that really needs to be in place. So you can be using this time to be growing your footprint online. That might be establishing a website, improving a website, growing the website with additional pages or blog posts, or growing your footprint outside of your website through things like PR and social media. Maybe you're guest speaking, whatever that might be. You have the margin to do this. This is the time to be doing it. If you've been around here for a bit, you probably know that we have ways to help you with that as well. Confident Copy is actually going to be opening in 2 weeks at a reduced price and with some exclusive bonuses because we believe this time is fertile ground for you to be growing and cultivating your marketing. I often hear this quote: the client you have now, or you got now, is a result of the actions you took 90 days ago. Now, 90 days is like that time frame can vary, but 90 days from now, guess what? We're getting back into the flow of fall when we would expect many clinicians to start to increase in referrals. The actions you take now are what's going to pay off in the fall, right? And you could just sit here and not do anything and it'll probably still pick up. But imagine if it picked up even more. What more could happen if you chose to invest now and experience the fruits of those labors, 90 days from now or 6 months from now, or whatever that might be. So you can use this time to grow your footprint. Now, one thing that I mentioned was around this idea of batching. If you choose to go the content creation route, so maybe that's blog posts, maybe that's podcasts, maybe that's social media, whatever that might be, you have more time now. So create more than just what you need for this season. Create enough content to post until the end of the year. And again, you don't have to do that all at once in one sitting, but set some kind of larger goals, right? For what you're creating rather than just covering this summer. Cover this summer and when you pick up again, right? Make the most of this time and help it be fruitful, not just in this season, but beyond. So growing your footprint is the absolute number one way, honestly, that you can be growing your practice here in this summer season, that I want you to be really mindful of. And like I said, if it's the website that you're unsure of, either don't have or aren't seeing results from regularly, I want to see you exit this summer with that in place. And I really, really recommend you prioritize that. Whether it's with a program or a template of ours, you tackle it on your own. That is not as important to me as you having that powerhouse in your practice. That's what I want to see for you, however you choose to tackle that. So that's the first thing, growing your footprint. Next up, grow your network. Grow your network. You're in community right now. You're in community right now with other clinicians, even just watching this video, that are also probably sort of feeling the summer slump. They've got a little bit, a few more hours in their week than they normally do. Hopefully they're growing their footprint. Go connect with them. Remember, the actions we're taking now are not expected to have immediate results, right? Relationships never are. Go invest in relationships and trust they will pay off in the long term. That's the thing about networking. Very rarely do you meet someone for the first time and then they send you a client the next day. But you meet someone for the first time, you click, you get to know one another, you understand their niche, they understand yours, and all of a sudden this becomes a potential connection point months, years down the line. The other thing about growing your network in this season, you already probably feel pretty isolated, if I had to guess. In seasons where I've experienced slumps in my own business, they happen to me too. You can feel like, am I the only one experiencing this? Am I the only one? Private practice is already isolating in a good season. Right now, you're probably feeling especially that way. Reach out and find support. Reach out and find solidarity with others. And keeping in mind that, of course, especially when you have rock solid, marketing, when you have a really great website, when you know your niche, I love hearing how that always flows into networking as well. And you end up having these more productive networking conversations. So you're like, oh, I know exactly what I do. Let me tell you about it. And these conversations become really, really productive. All of a sudden, this new contact that you've met knows who you serve, knows how to send someone to you, knows how to talk about the great work that you do because you do. So I do recommend beginning with kind of the growing your footprint piece. You can absolutely network at any time, but we do really suggest that you sort of build kind of your marketing structure on top of really solid marketing so that when you go meet this new clinician that you really click with, you can send them to a website that does what we need it to do, that shows them what your niche is. When they send someone to your website, that's effective. So you can go and start networking now, absolutely. But you're going to probably be most fruitful in those efforts if you're kind of the basis of your marketing is really, really strong. So go foster genuine connection. Go get curious about others. Go be active in your local Facebook groups. If nothing else, like I said, to remove the isolation and the shame that can sometimes come in this time. Because this isn't, like I said, you probably didn't do anything wrong. This is just the nature of this business. So go be with other people who get that, because no one understands it quite as well as other therapists. Now, sometimes when we talk about networking around here, we also talk about networking with non-therapists, with we call them complementary professionals, but people that are not necessarily therapists, but can also send, sort of clients your way. Interestingly, like I mentioned at the top of this training, lots of industries expect and experience a slowdown in the summertime. So chances are you could also be connecting with your, your local chiropractor, your acupuncturist, your birth doula, your photographer, like whatever that might be, you go, get curious about those folks. If nothing else, you've got that additional time to be extending, kind of a hello to other people. But use this time as an opportunity to go get out of kind of your personal solo bubble and make connections. Go and get curious and trust that those connections you make are long-term investments in yourself and in your own kind of well-being and your own connection, and also in your referral base. We continue to see how the longer that clinicians are in practice, the more and more they're able to rely on word of mouth referrals because people just know them, and they've done a great job of cultivating those relationships over time. So again, a long-term strategy, but something you can really, really be dedicating yourself and leaning into right now. So that's the second one, is grow your network. So first, grow your footprint, make sure that that's rock solid. Then go out and grow your network and get curious and find community and connection in this time. And then finally, grow your capacity. Now, what do I mean by that? I've mentioned a lot of things you could be going and doing. And when referrals slow down, if you're like many therapists that we support, it's really hard to not automatically go into panic mode. And panic mode usually means, oh my gosh, something's wrong. What do I need to do? I need to change everything. And you start just like this busy work. And you feel like you need to just uproot everything and start over. And maybe I need to add all of these different things and extend this to-do list. And there's a time and a place, like I said, to improve. That's why we've talked about growing your footprint and growing your network. But this is also a time to rest. It's also a time to trust that the additional time you're having to be away from clinical work is also productive. I was just speaking with a clinician who mentioned this a couple weeks ago. She said, rest is productive. This is the capacity that I gain in these slower times allows me to show up and be a better therapist when things pick up again. So as much as I'm going to be an advocate of you going out and strategically doing things and making changes and optimizations, please also rest, enjoy this time, trust that this time is in itself able to be productive, even if you yourself are not checking an item on your to-do list. If all you do in these stressful times is stress, if all you do in these stressful times is putter around and figure out what you're doing wrong and try and change things, you've missed an opportunity to just slow down and appreciate it for what it is. Because like I said, ebbs and flows are normal, and you can only have ebbs if you have flows. They will come back. It is truly like riding the wave of private practice. So rest and allow yourself to do that, and trust and believe that that is productive. The other thing I mean by growing your capacity is growing your capacity for weathering these ups and downs in the future, because this is not the only time you're going to experience this in private practice. Like I said, the really successful clinicians we've been sitting down with and talking to recently, every single one of them knows what it's like to start questioning things when the referrals slow down. They know what it's like to experience additional cancellations and be a little bit, worried and to be tempted to go into that place. The successful ones are the ones who know how to weather those storms, right? They know to anticipate these ups and downs. They aren't taken, they aren't surprised by them. They believe that they're gonna come again, and they've set themselves up to accept and move through them. Practically, that can look like creating a system to pay yourself consistently. I know many therapists that we work with use the profit first model, where you are paying yourself consistently no matter what, regardless of the number of clients in your week or in your month. And maybe you're not at a point that you're able to do that, but looking at your numbers, understanding your numbers, knowing your numbers, and planning for times like this. Because if you continue to be surprised every single time things slow down, you're just going to stay in this cycle of sort of feast and famine. When instead you could just be trusting the larger picture, where yes, there are ebbs and flows, but there's a steady, right? There's an equilibrium there that you could be coming back to. And that really, much of that does become, it really is based in your numbers. The other thing I really want to encourage you to do, and this is something I do in times where I'm feeling unsure, is I journal through my thoughts right now. So wherever, if, especially if you're in this season, maybe for the first or second time, and you are really tempted to go into that like panicky, stressful place, get those thoughts down on paper right now. Because when things pick up, because they will, and then when they drop back down again, because they will at some point, you can return to this. You can return to sort of remember not only how you felt now, but also how you came out of it. And that can build a lot of resilience. I have noticed that in my own self. It can build a lot of resilience in these seasons where, again, you're not being taken surprise, you're not being surprised by them, but instead you've proven to yourself there's evidence of the fact that you have weathered sort of that storm, right? That up and down a little bit, and you're more capable as you move forward into the future for that. So that third one is growing your capacity. So these are really the three ways that we've seen really the most successful clinicians we know handle these times. Grow your footprint. So getting your marketing in shape right now is just the best time to be doing this. The summer really is your absolute number one time to be doing it. Making sure that that is in tip-top shape, and then spending a little bit of time, if you've got it, experimenting and thinking about how you could perhaps broaden that footprint beyond what perhaps you've done in the past. Then grow your network. Go find connection, go find community, and go find relationships that will likely prove fruitful referral wise down the line. But you're not the only one feeling this way right now, right? There's other therapists that are too. Go seek them out. Go get curious about other people. And then finally, grow your capacity here. Grow your capacity for serving an increased number of clients later on this year by resting and by enjoying the slower times. Like what could you go be doing for you right now, or what do you get to do with your kids that you wouldn't when they're in school and you're busy? Go enjoy that and be present there. And then also growing your capacity for sort of weathering these ebbs and flows in the future, because this is not the only time you're going to feel this in the life of your practice. So practically, numbers, systems wise, and also just mindset and resiliency wise, finding ways to foster that so that when this happens again, you're not, you know what to do, right? And you're less tempted to go into that really stressful, spiraling, anxious, panicky place. As I mentioned, Confident Copy is opening in a couple of weeks because we really do believe that this time is critical, and that if you're not yet in a place where you can trust that you'll have a strong marketing foundation, a really great website, a crystal clear niche, a good idea of how to get found on Google, that this is the time to be investing in that. I also recognize, and I want to see you rest. We're throwing in an extra month of support, a little teaser about that bonus, a little an extra month of support this summer as you hopefully go take time to go to the pool with your kids or go on vacation while still getting a whole ton of incredible support from myself and my team. I'm taking a month off because I'm giving birth in a couple of months. So just really offering a really flexible container for you, but also the expert support that you need, or that the right therapists need, right, to get themselves out there and to have that really strong marketing foundation that you can then begin building on, and cultivating, especially as you get back into the fall and the rhythm of things, and somewhere just 1 week those referrals start to tick up again and you're like, oh, maybe everything actually is going to be okay. We're headed back there. And again, if nothing else, I hope that right now you feel like a little bit more encouraged that if you're experiencing some version of the summer slump, no matter how that looks for you, that this isn't necessarily an indication you've done something wrong, and instead is a natural part and a natural rhythm in the business that you're building, but can be a really fruitful time for you. So, all right, let's see if there's any questions here. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this was helpful for you. Lane said, have you seen success with digital footprint with a website made through GoDaddy? I got feedback in the group that Squarespace is needed for SEO. Lane, great question. The platform your website is built on does impact your SEO, so your ability to rank on Google. Now, can you rank on Google with a website built on GoDaddy? Yes. If anyone tells you otherwise, they're lying. You can absolutely show up on Google with a website built on GoDaddy. However, you are very, very limited in your ability to optimize the website. And that's really why we recommend one of the kind of the big three in order. Our recommended website platforms are Squarespace, WordPress, and Wix in that order. Those three platforms are going to offer you the robust functionality you need to truly optimize and deeply optimize a website. So while you can certainly have a website on on GoDaddy, you can absolutely get clients through, like, please hear me, those things can all be possible. It's a little bit more of kind of an uphill battle. And we would recommend that you would move on over to one of those recommended platforms to open up all of those functionalities that are so important and are increasingly important as SEO becomes more saturated and more competitive. Obviously, as it becomes more competitive, the better optimized you need to be. So great question. If you've got other questions, feel free to let me know, but I hope you're feeling encouraged right now. I hope you're feeling like, I sort of know what to do. And let me sort of walk through that kind of the steps again. So you're walking away with like, here's what I need to do. One, do I have a website? Yes or no? If you don't, that's your goal. That's your goal. Spend those couple of hours that you have each week over the next couple of months investing in that, doing that well. It's not so much any website. It has to be an effective website. Lots of trainings around that. If you need help, you just let me know. I'm happy to point you towards some training. So first and foremost, if your website hasn't performed for you, say in the last 6 months, if you've not gotten consistent referrals there, that tells us it also needs some optimization. And so I would spend time there. Now, if those things are true and you sort of have that strong foundation, then look at growing your footprint otherwise. That's adding pages to your website with like additional specialty pages. Like I said, maybe brain spotting. People are coming to you asking for a particular method. Go write a page for that. Increase your Google footprint in that way. Blogging, or outside of your website, social media, podcasting, PR. Go grow your footprint with this time, and consider batching that content so that if it is something that you're needing to, post on a regular basis, do some of that creation now, schedule it out, then you don't have to worry about it come October when you're busy again. Then grow your network. Go get connected. Go get curious. Go be in community with other clinicians that know what this is like, and trust that the connections you're making now can be fruitful down the road. And then finally, grow your capacity here for serving your clients in the future and for weathering this, these ups and downs in the future as well. So setting up systems to pay yourself consistently, journaling through how you're feeling right now, and then journaling through how you feel as you come back out of this season, and just enjoying a little bit of rest as well. It is well deserved. It is productive, especially when it comes to you showing up and being there for your clients. So no shame in rest around here, especially in the summertime. So, alrighty, friends, I hope this was helpful for you. Thanks so much for being here. If you have questions, if you're wondering about this whole confident copy thing, go to walkerstrategyco.com/curious. You can sign up for kind of some behind the scenes about confident copy. And I'm also hosting an open house Q&A next week, just to answer questions, to help you decide if it's the right fit. Please know, if you reach out to us in any capacity about confident copy, we will always 100% be honest with you if we don't think it's the best fit, and we're always happy to point you in the direction of what is. So go find the resources that make sense for you. We're cheering for you. This season is temporary, but you are not alone, and we are here to support you. Hope you have a great weekend.